Get smart with your spending with Nucenda's Breeze debit card. We've got your back by offering safe and easy access to your money. Never any hidden fees, just an account that makes sense. Download the Nucenda app to enroll in mobile and internet banking, managing your funds, making person-to-person transfers, and rounding up purchases to save. Visit Nucenda.org to explore Breeze accounts and join our credit union.
New members must be eligible for membership. Equal opportunity lender. Insured by NCUA.
Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Inside Santa Fe Public Schools podcast. I am Joe Abeta, and today our guests are, a very special guest too, by the way, is our Capitol High Valedictorian, Raquel Pulido, and our newly minted Assistant Superintendent for Santa Fe Public Schools, Jaime Holladay, former Capitol High Principal. How are you doing today, guys?
I'm well.
Yeah?
I'm doing amazing too.
Yeah. No, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Raquel, I was inspired by your story and your speech that you gave at your commencement. And the other day, what really was the genesis of asking you on, first of all, you're an amazing student. And I think that's awesome. And I believe that your story will be inspiring to others that haven't heard it. But Miss Holladay the other day, when we were in a meeting, she had brought up the fact of like everybody in Santa Fe Public Schools, the cafeteria workers, the custodians, the security people, teachers, support staff. We all have a role in helping lift the burden of our students to be successful. And that really stuck with me. In meetings, you kind of go like, oh, well, we'll get we have checklists to do and stuff like that. But it was inspiring, Jaime, that, you came on and you said something like that. And it really resonated and really opened up my mind to things about what is my role here at public schools. And I'm sure it did with other folks in there too as well. But I approached Miss Holladay and I said, hey, do you think that Raquel would want to come on and do a podcast? And you texted back right away saying yes. And I really appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah. I just love talking about my journey through Santa Fe Public Schools. I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for Santa Fe Public Schools.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So we're going to get into this incredible journey. So let's talk about this. So were you a 13-year Santa Fe Public School alum? Did you go to Santa Fe Public Schools since kindergarten?
Yes, I went to Cesar Chavez, El Camino Real, and Capitol High School.
Okay. And so tell me, how was that journey? Can we give me what were some of the events, that really you had talked about in your speech, but can you kind of give us a background, the folks that don't know, that weren't at the commencement?
Of course.
Yeah.
So I went to Cesar Chavez from kinder through first grade.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It was really hard because my parents are Spanish speakers,
mm-hmm.
and my first language was Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to Cesar Chavez, I went to an all-English classroom, and it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand anything. I was lost. I didn't learn. I was going to get retained. I was going to stay in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom said no, she has to move on. So I moved on to first grade, and it was 50-50 classroom, and it was just much easier for me, but it was still really hard for me to learn how to read and write. My teachers always told me, Raquel, you know how to do it, you just don't get to the right answer.
Uh-huh.
I know how to read, and go for it.
No. I was just going to ask you, do you remember that specifically?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I remember I think it was my third grade teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, Raquel, you know how to do it. You just don't arrive to the right answer, but you know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that always stuck with me because I always felt like I'm trying my hardest, but I'm not achieving. So when I went to El Camino Real, all of my classes were always Spanish and English. When I reached fourth grade, I was still struggling to read and write. So my teacher recommended me to have me tested for dyslexia.
Mm-hmm.
So I did the test. It was extensive, and it came out that I have dyslexia, which, it was a shock. Like, I was so sad, I guess, because everyone was already reading chapter books and I was still stuck on the picture books and I couldn't read them. I couldn't sound out the words.
Yeah.
Even in Spanish, I could read in Spanish, but it was just not at the rate everyone else was reading. So I had special classes, and I would say I'm so grateful for SFPS for offering those type of stuff. Like, I remember my teacher, or the special teacher that I had, would come get me from my class, and she would go over like the basics, like how to sound out words, how to read this, how to write this, and how to never forget how to write, like the rules, I guess, of how to write. And that stuff always kind of stuck with me. Like, I always remember like the basic rules of writing, reading, sounding things out, like how words always go together and make these sounds because of that. So when I had those classes, I was able to advance to the level where everyone else was, and that was like my huge like accomplishment. It was like my motivation, I guess, that I need to keep going because now I'm at everyone else's level and now I just have to keep excelling. And when I was in 6th grade, I was finally writing, reading, everything, and that's when I applied to the AVID program.
Okay. And the AVID program, Ms. Holladay, it's a college program, right? To encourage kids to move on to go on to college, right?
Yeah, it is a college and career readiness program. There's an AVID elective component, which when people say AVID, they most commonly think of the AVID elective. It's a program for students that are highly motivated, and they are generally underrepresented in college. And so the beautiful thing is, yes, it's best strategies focusing on really quality teaching. It also has that social component where then students are working with like-minded peers that they want to excel. They want to work hard. The acronym, it's
Advancement via individual determination.
Yes. And so the students, they are individually determined, but we all do better when we're surrounded by friends or colleagues that are going to cheer us on and push us to be our best selves. And so Capitol High School, we're an AVID national demonstration school. We have been, we've had AVID for, I want to say 20 years. We've been a national demonstration school. I want to say 15 years, but it might be longer.
Okay.
And so what that means is we integrate AVID best practices and ways of being across all content. So it's not only students in the AVID elective that are encouraged to go on college trips. It's the student that they are barely passing, and we are like, we still want you to go visit a college. Okay. And so really having those high expectations and then support systems for all students.
So Raquel, let me ask you something. What was your motivation? I mean, I know asking a 4th grader, but if you could put yourself into that 4th grade mindset of like, what was it? Was it just to be able to be comfortable in class and to understand what was going on? Was that the motivation, or was there something else that was keeping that fire lit to be able to be successful, to push through those struggles? Because I couldn't imagine, being a child and going through the regular struggles of doing that, of learning English and struggling with Spanish, and then having undiagnosed dyslexia too. You have all those things going against you. But what was it that really pushed you into where you were in 6th grade, where you felt comfortable?
So I would say it was my parents, because my dad is an immigrant from Mexico. And when he arrived here in the U.S., he started working at McDonald's. He was a McDonald's manager, and he worked the night shifts. And it was always so sad. I was never able to really see my dad because he was sleeping during the day and working during the night. And every time I would see him, he would always tell me, Raquel, you have to be better than me. And I would always be like, I want to be like you. You are the reason I'm here. I have these opportunities. Like, there's no one else I would want to be like my dad, because he always strived to be better, to provide everything we ever needed. New shoes, he would always tell me, even if I was left with $20, at least you had your school uniform, your shoes. And I think that's where my motivation came from. I want to get my degree. I want to retire my dad. I want to retire my mom. She's a nanny.
Yeah.
And during that time, she was always at this girl's house taking care of her kids. And I was never also able to see my mom. I was always left with like babysitters and my aunties. And
Yeah.
I would say my parents always fought to give us everything. And I would say that's my biggest motivation. And being a little girl, seeing my dad struggle, it was hard. And I would always tell myself, I need to learn how to read. I need to learn how to write, or else how am I gonna apply to college if I don't know how to write?
Yeah. So you're in 6th grade, and it's kind of like you're riding a bike now. You feel like you're riding a bike, and you don't have to use your hands to guide it, and you're, that type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. How did that feel?
It felt liberating. I always remember being so scared. Teachers would always tell us, "Oh, we're gonna popcorn read today," and I would always feel like, "Oh, it can't land on me because I don't know how to read." Yeah. But when I was in 6th grade, I always wanted to be the one to read out loud because I wanted to have a confident voice. I always wanted to be better. I wanted to show others that I'm able to read, I'm able to write. And I think that's where like my confidence comes from my peers always supporting me. They would always be like, "Oh, this is how you say that word, Raquel." But they wouldn't say it in a mean way. They would be like, "Okay, this is how you said it, and this is why it's the wrong way to say it." But a lot of people could get confused because that's what it looks like. But English is weird. Yeah.
So with that, then you go on from 6th grade, and then you stayed at El Camino, correct?
Yes.
For up to 8th grade.
Yes.
Okay, and then you go on to Capital. So let's talk about those years. Unless there's something happened in middle school that. No, it's
just the AVID program. It was just amazing.
Staying on
my note-taking skills, my organization. I definitely felt comfortable moving on to high school.
Yeah. So you go on to Capital, and Miss Holladay is your principal. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about those years. How was it your freshman year? Was it something that you had set out to take the best classes and take the most classes? And what was the plan when you had gotten to Capital?
So at first I was terrified like any other freshman would be. Mm-hmm. When I was picking my classes, I remember seeing this email from my counselor saying, if you are not if English was not your first Spanish, I would refrain from taking honors English. And I'm like, I've always had struggles with English. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to take honors English or if it was going to be too hard for me. Mm-hmm. But I talked to my counselor. I told him I really want to do this. And he said, all for it. Just ask for help because that's what we're here for. Mm-hmm. So my English teacher that year was Miss Bonillas. She was the most amazing English teacher ever. Okay. She was amazing. I think I learned a lot of really good skills from her, and I think that was my only honors class that year. I think that was the only thing they were offering for freshmen. Mm-hmm. It was definitely hard though. I did 3 sports. Okay. And
what'd you play?
I did volleyball, swimming, and softball.
Okay.
But if you know me, you know that I stopped doing sports my junior year and senior year because it was becoming too hard to manage it. And I know a lot of people did do it, and I'm like so proud of them, but it was just too hard for me, too hard to manage, I guess.
I got you.
Wanted to prioritize my academics rather than my sports.
Were you taking AP classes at that point?
My sophomore year is when I took my first AP class, AP seminar. It was a challenge definitely from my other classes, but Miss Moon is also a really amazing teacher, and I learned a lot of good things from her. And I guess that's what inspired me to take more AP classes. And by my junior year, I was taking 5 AP classes. Mm-hmm. And by my senior year, I was taking 6 AP classes. And I think the support that Capitol High students have is like amazing. Like anyone could succeed in an AP class. I always tell my friends, AP, it's a challenge, but anyone can do it, I think.
So let me ask you, Raquel, because I know just the journey of like you have to take the pre-SAT your sophomore year, right? That's the free one, right? Mm-hmm. And then from there, however you score, and then you have to take these other, you have to prepare now to get into college and stuff, right? So Can we talk about that? I'm really interested in it because, like, at what point did you think to yourself, I can get into Stanford? Or was there even a point like that?
There was not a point.
Okay.
I did not think I was going to get into Stanford.
So tell me about that. What was your process, I guess your college process with that? And if there's other stuff, Raquel, that we can talk about, absolutely. But these are questions that I have that I wanted to ask you because it's very rare that I run into someone that gets into Stanford. So I'm just telling you, but I'm just kind of the middle schooler that's asking you these questions, like, how did this happen? So
AVID has a requirement when you are a senior, you have to apply to a REACH school.
Okay.
And
do you want to explain what a REACH school is?
So a REACH school is a school that has like a low acceptance rate.
Okay.
So like you could say like 20% or lower.
Yeah.
That would be a REACH school. And then you have your target schools, which is like 50, 60% acceptance rate. Oh, no, that's your match.
Yeah.
Your match. And then your safety schools are like UNM, like your 100%, 90%.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you have to apply to like.
But you applied to a school that probably has less than 2% acceptance rate, right?
So I've always loved Stanford. I'm like, I'm gonna try to get into Stanford, but no, I can't.
Yeah.
Give myself that. My dream school was U Chicago.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I applied to about 30 schools, and I was only denied from one school, and it was U Chicago.
Oh wow.
And that was always so crazy to me because I'm like, the one school I wanted to go to is the only one that denied me. I applied to Johns Hopkins and I got accepted.
Mm-hmm.
I applied to the University of Southern California and I got accepted.
Wow.
And I guess the only school I wanted to go to is the one that didn't want me, I guess. I don't know. But I guess when I heard back from U Chicago, I was really sad. I really wanted to go to U Chicago, especially because of the Davis program. I was a Davis Scholar.
Yes. And you are a Davis Scholar, right? You got the which is an amazing scholarship. Yes. Right.
So I'm no longer a Davis Scholar because I'm going to Stanford.
That's right.
But I was going to be a Davis Scholar because I was going to go to the University of Portland.
Yes, I remember that. So tell me about that. Like, as you're when did you get the letter of acceptance? Was the University of Chicago the first? Okay, so what was the first REACH school that you got?
Stanford.
Okay, you got Stanford right away.
That was in December.
How was that? Can you tell me how that was?
I was crying. I was like, okay, I just got an email from Stanford. I'm like, I don't really want to open it. Like, usually the emails say, oh, there's an update on your portal.
Yes.
And I'm like, I already know it's the decision. And they don't accept many people. There's many other people out there in the world.
Yeah.
I didn't even submit my test scores. I just submitted my essays.
Yeah.
So I went to go check, and then I see just a bunch of confetti on my phone, and I'm like, oh my God, there's no way on earth that I got accepted into Stanford.
That is amazing.
And then the first words is, congratulations, you have been accepted to the class of 2029. I was like, what? This is not for me. And I was like, is this Raquel on top? And I was crying. I was like texting my mom, like, can you believe I just got into Stanford? And she's like, what? How did you get into Stanford? Because I mean, my parents don't know a lot of colleges, but they know the big ones. They know Harvard, they know Stanford. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yes, I got into Stanford. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I think I cried for like 20 minutes. And then I was just seeing everything they were putting, and it was just like amazing. And like they take so much like personal stuff. Like, they sent me a letter saying everything they liked about my essay.
That's awesome.
Like, I was like, there's no way they're putting this time into each student. And I felt so special. Like, they really liked me. And they even had a meeting with all the people that got accepted from New Mexico. Yeah. And we all got together, and I'm like, out of all these, like, all the people there, they're like, oh, I got into Harvard, I got into MIT. And I'm like, what? Yeah. They were just like crazy smart individuals, and I couldn't believe I was in a room with them.
Yeah. Because the journey that you had taken so far, I mean, from when you first started in kindergarten, a struggling kindergartner that didn't know English, and then all of a sudden you get, you win the Super Bowl of achievements for academic achievement. I mean, What a journey, right?
It was a crazy journey, and I remember when I have my fourth grade teacher on Instagram, and I posted a picture of myself giving the valedictorian speech, and she commented on my post. She's like, Raquel, I'm so proud of you. It's crazy seeing your growth. She doesn't live in Santa Fe anymore, but it was so heartwarming seeing a teacher that saw me through my struggle.
How was that when you found out that, is there like a hint that you're going to be valedictorian like early, like, hey.
For me, it was hard.
You got this. How did that all
She
work
could talk
out?
about it. Yeah.
Holy moly, it was so close this year.
Uh-huh.
When students look at their transcript, it shows like their ranking. Like
Yeah.
1 out of whatever,
Yeah.
2 out of whatever.
Mhm.
And there were some students that it was like a 3-way tie there for a little bit. And we're like, well, let's like hand double check that the computer was calculating properly. And the beautiful thing is none of these students were like, it should be me and not this person.
Yeah.
They all were building each other up.
Yeah.
And I think that really speaks to the quality of students that we have at Capital.
Yeah.
It's not about pulling someone else down. It was like, can we double check this? And
Mhm.
so up until like that last grading, we were like, let's keep calculating. But I want to go back on something that Raquel said
Yeah.
and tied something you asked.
Yeah.
I think that we should more publicly acknowledge that struggling academically
Mhm.
does not mean that you are not smart.
Yeah.
So the young lady that received the Stanford acceptance letter, oh my gosh, you're the same person that was that struggling reader
Mhm.
in kinder, in first, in second. You've grown and matured, but you've always had that ability.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes students think, ooh, if something's hard, then there's something wrong with me.
Mhm.
But everything is difficult until it's not. That's like how learning is. Like if you knew how to read right off the bat, well,
Yeah.
then why would we need to teach you that?
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that if, as a society, we kind of celebrated the struggle a little more,
Yeah.
then people wouldn't doubt their intelligence or their ability. Because, sweet girl, I don't care if you fail a test your first semester. Like at some point you will fail.
I
Yeah.
know.
And that will be okay because we learn from our failure. And if everything is easy, then that means you're not learning. And so that's just my plug for like,
And-
it's okay to struggle and fail.
And then sometimes I find myself like being that little girl again, thinking I'm going to be at Stanford and I'm going to be the one that doesn't know how to do calculus. I'm like being that little girl again. Everyone knows how to read and I don't know how to read. Everybody knows how to do calculus and I don't know how to do
That doubt
calculus.
is going to start to creep
And then
in.
I start thinking like, why would there be top professors there? If they didn't want to teach, I would probably be their favorite person because I'm the one that's more confused in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask them more questions.
Well, and you belong anywhere you want to be.
Yeah.
You got accepted for a reason. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't like, oops, we sent the email to the wrong person. They see in you what everybody else sees in you. And that I think you see in yourself when you're not doubting yourself, right?
Yeah, and here's another thing too that I'm hoping, that we do this podcast and we're hoping that you could be the example of maybe a mother or a parent or a guardian hears this out and says, here, whoever their struggling student is right now in fourth grade, they can hear this and you can inspire them, that it's going to be okay, because there's going to be times you're going to have rough days when you're a young student. And there's going to be days that you may not understand because you're struggling with learning English and that's your second language or something. But it's okay to feel that way. You don't have to get something right away. You learn from it and you persevere from it, and you're a great example of that. And I just that's so awesome that all that has happened. And yeah, I know. And also college is it's really an exciting time in your life, man. That's pretty amazing. So Stanford, the first to come in the letter, and then other letters come. This is kind of like a fanboy type of question. But then it just seems like the gates opened, right?
Yeah.
You got letters from USC. You were getting letters from, what was it?
John Hopkins.
John Hopkins. And it's just like, wow, right?
Definitely. Like in shock. I was like, how am I getting accepted into all of these schools? And I was still waiting for U Chicago. I was like, U Chicago has to accept me. Look at all the other schools accepting me. I also got I got waitlisted from NYU.
Yeah.
And later got accepted. But
let me ask you about the AVID program. How did it nurture you through all of this? As far as what were some big things that people need to know about the AVID program that may be thinking about it? Is it something you need to be accepted into?
It is. Raquel can tell you way more.
Okay,
because she went through the journey.
All right.
So AVID at Capital, I think it's so special because you stay with your AVID teacher all 4 years of high school.
Okay.
And I think that's like so special because your teacher knows you, knows your struggles, knows your strengths, and she's ready to write you an amazing letter of recommendation because she's the teacher that's known you for the longest out of all your other teachers. And I think the AVID program does a really good job at preparing you for applying to scholarships like New Mexico Simon Scholars, the Davis program. It's like the floodgates. Like once you're an AVID, you have access to so many things. And I think AVID at Capital is especially special because they have like the best AVID teachers. I'm not even exaggerating.
But they help you navigate through the college process too,
Yes.
right? If you're, for the first generation college students, right, that their parents may not know other than, because there's a lot of things you need to navigate to get to college that if you didn't know it, it's a little bit overwhelming, especially for parents too, right? And the timing of it too, of applying and knowing that you need to apply is it the October of your senior year?
Yes.
Going in your senior year, there's like a deadline that you need to meet to apply. And then there's scholarships you need to apply for.
too.
And then there's financial aid on top of that too, if you need financial aid. So there's a lot and having to go to and apply for your FAFSA and all this other things, right?
And Capital does a really good job at preparing you for that, AVID and Gear Up.
Yeah.
Because we have FAFSA nights. They take all the seniors into the auditorium to sign up for your FAFSA, for advisory, getting you ready for reading your financial aid letters because so many students receive their financial aid and they're like, what am I looking at?
Yeah. It can be overwhelming for sure. Yeah, no, definitely. I've had to go through it twice. I even forgot the first time. It was only like 4 years later, but still. Yeah.
When I reflect on my journey to college, I didn't even know what FAFSA was.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know what I didn't know. My mom was like, of course you're going to college. And that was it. Like, she didn't. Yeah. It was complete, like, ignorance. And not that it's a bad thing. Like, why would she know? She was a waitress.
Yeah.
Of course she didn't know anything about getting into college and navigating. And not that it's any shame against people that don't know.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, you need someone to help you figure it out. And AVID really helps students to figure it out.
And you know about FAFSA since your freshman year. You know federal.
Yeah.
And by
money.
and the AVID program, it gives you it makes you aware of the process. You know the process when it's time.
And we know it's going to be hard.
Yes.
We're going to struggle.
Yeah.
We're going to get through it together.
Yeah.
And they really do a good job at making sure every student has applied to a college, has financial aid, has applied for FAFSA. And I think that's something so special because we want our students to go to college or trade programs or whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Like we had one of our AVID students go into the military, and we support them through anything they want to do after school, as long as they're prepared. Right after graduation, you know what you're going to do.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's awesome. What a great, I mean, I kind of knew what AVID was, but, hearing someone go through the process of it is very special. Yeah. That's pretty amazing. Well, Raquel, thank you so much for sharing your story. I hope that folks listen to it, and just amazing, amazing, amazing story. I have to say, and thank you just for the time. What are you looking at? Do you know what your major is going to be, or are you still thinking about it?
Right now, I'm looking at chemistry. I'm a little shying away, though. I'm really scared of taking, because it's a requirement to take calculus and physics, and I'm totally dreading it.
Yeah.
So right now it's chemistry. I'm going to take my first semester of college, see how it goes.
Yeah.
If I get traumatized or not.
Well, I got to say, just the perseverance of the fourth grader and, the kindergartner and all that you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, absolutely.
You got this. You belong wherever you want to be. It'll be hard. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you've dealt with difficult things in life, so you will slay it. Go to the tutoring, go to the teachers, your
Every
professor's office hours, and put all of the skills that you've learned to work at Stanford.
Mhm.
You're going to be amazing.
Thank you.
You are amazing.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Raquel Pulido. Congratulations, and thank you for spending some time with us and sharing your story with us. Miss Holladay, Jaime Holladay, thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Yes.
If we can put a plug for people to go back and listen to Raquel's speech at our graduation.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. You had everyone in tears. I don't know if you realized that, but
I was nervous.
Superintendent, school board, me, Miss B. Hill, Mr. Lee, we're all like,
And it's online. You can go to the Santa Fe Public Schools YouTube channel, and it's there, capital high, and you can scrub through all the other stuff and get right there to it. It's at the beginning. So it is there, and it'll be there for as long as YouTube exists.
Thank you.
So that's good. So thanks again. Thank you to our guests. Folks, thank you for listening to us here on Inside Santa Fe Public Schools podcast. Have a great week. Have a safe week. Adios.